It's always the same weekend. First the screams, faint and distant, as if the sounds coming through the water itself. Then someone goes missing. I never believed any of it, not until I heard the screaming myself. You can't always see what's beneath the surface. But sometimes it sees you, and some things are waiting to be heard. I grew up near Lake Danvers, a cold, deep patch of water surrounded by pine forest. Not famous, somewhat scenic, but certainly beautiful to me. Quiet. Locals knew it as a camping spot. The occasional angler or hiker might pass through, but it was never busy. Still, the stories have always been around. Every summer, someone would vanish. Always around mid-July. No bodies, no witnesses, no signs of foul play, just gone. Some blamed the currents, said there were sinkholes or undertows beneath the surface. Others blamed the forest, but the older locals, the ones who'd been there long enough, they'd just shake their heads and mutter something you could barely hear. They live beneath the lake, one man told me once. They don't like being disturbed. I was a rational person, still am mostly. I believed in science, physics, reason. So when I came back home after uni for the first time in years, I thought it'd be funny, nostalgic even, to camp out there again. One night, no signal, no stress. It's just like we used to do as teenagers, except this time, I was alone. It was mid-July. Should have remembered. I got there just before sunset, parked at the bottom of the old dirt trail, hauled my gear up to the clearing by the water's edge. The air was still, too still. No wind, no birdsong.
Ow.
Just that kind of silence that presses against your eardrums. I unpacked, made a fire, watched the sun dip below the tree line. And for a while, everything felt completely normal, till it didn't. At around 9:30, the fire had burned down to glowing embers, and I was sat on the folding chair staring out across the water. The moon had come up, casting silver ripples on the lake's surface. I was just about to call it a night when I heard it. Scream. Muffled but unmistakable. A human voice. Female, I think. Echoing across the water from the far side of the lake, I stood up. Listened. Nothing. Then another. Shorter this time, and more distant. I thought maybe it was some drunk campers messing about, or kids trying to scare someone. But I hadn't seen a single other car on the road and the sound. It didn't echo the way it should have. It didn't bounce off the trees or travel naturally. It was as if the sound had risen up directly from the lake itself. I couldn't explain it, but something deep in my body recoiled. I went back into my tent, zipped it up, and sat there in the dark with my torch off, just listening. The fire had died completely by now, and the only sound was the distant lapping of water against the shore. Then I was breathing. Not mine, not close, but loud enough that I could tell it was wet, like someone struggling to breathe with water in their throat. It was coming from the direction of the lake. I know how that sounds. Believe me, I do. But I swear to you, I wasn't dreaming. I wasn't drunk or high or anything like that. I was stone cold sober and wide awake. I stayed there, frozen, until dawn. When the sun finally rose, everything looked normal again. Wasn't drunk or high or anything like that. Was stone cold sober and wide awake. I stayed there, frozen, until dawn. The water calm. The trees still. But when I stepped out of my tent, I noticed something strange. There were wet footprints on the grass. Human-sized, barefoot, leading from the water's edge. Right up to the flap of my tent. I packed up in record time. Didn't even roll my sleeping bag, just shoved everything in the boot and drove. But that wasn't the end. A week later, I was scrolling through the local news. Someone had gone missing. Her name was Emma Clark. 26. She went paddleboarding out on Lake Danvers with her partner. Never came back. No splash, no struggle. He turned around, and she was gone. Search and rescue found nothing. Divers went down for days. Not a trace. Just like always. It's not a coincidence. I know that now. I heard the scream before she vanished. I think whatever made those footprints was looking for someone. Maybe they got tired of waiting. Maybe they decided to take someone else instead. I haven't been back to Lake Danvers since. But every year, around mid-July, I still check the news. And every year, without fail, someone disappears. So if you ever find yourself camping by a quiet lake in the middle of summer and you hear a voice calling out from the water, don't answer, because something down there is listening. And it doesn't want to be alone anymore. If you've made it this far, thank you for listening. If that one gave you chills, you're not alone. Something about water, the stillness, the depth, it hides things we're not meant to understand. If you don't want to be haunted, I suggest you subscribe to 13 Whispers for more real ghost stories, paranormal encounters, and true horror told in haunting detail. Please leave a comment if you've ever felt uneasy around still water, or if you've heard something that shouldn't have been there.